Still stand by the idea that you're going to be Speaker of the House tonight?
Yes. Look, I'm an optimist because I think there's no point of being anything else. I think this is a big honor to be able to be this. I think we've been very successful at different points. I just would not understand if there's a handful of Republicans who join Democrats who get to determine who's the Speaker of the House is. But it is what it is.
What about these Republicans who are opposed to you? I mean, what has gone on here? What do you think is their thinking? And
these are the same ones who opposed me before, and so they're turning the floor over to the Democrats.
Well, folks, it gives me great pleasure to tell you that House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is now former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Old Kevy becomes the first House Speaker in American history to be kicked out of the job. And boy, the Freedom Caucus really wants you to know it was them. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz led an hour of debate over whether to toss McCarthy out of his job. But really, the outcome was never actually in doubt. That only raised tension in the House chamber, where the American people got a wide-angle view of the Republican collapse.
Results on the border is a disaster, really something I don't think you're going to be campaigning on, that you fixed the border. Second, you said you streamlined regulations. What the gentleman from Louisiana doesn't tell you is that all of the regulatory reform he was just bragging about is waivable by the stroke of a pen of someone in the Biden White House. Do you really think you've got anything for that? It's a total joke. And then finally, the welfare to work that the gentleman from Louisiana said we got. The welfare programs that they said that they streamlined with their welfare to work stuff, they're actually going to grow. Because while they did work requirements, they blew out those programs with expanded eligibility.
And it went on like that for a full 30 minutes as Gaetz attacked the GOP as lying, cheating, weak-willed, jello-spined losers who keep losing fights to Joe Biden. And Gaetz made absolutely clear that he thinks the Republican Party is in chaos.
Mr. Speaker, my friend from Oklahoma says that my colleagues and I who don't support Kevin McCarthy would plunge the House and the country into chaos. Chaos is Speaker McCarthy. Chaos is somebody who we cannot trust with their word. The one thing that the White House, House Democrats, and many of us on the conservative side of the Republican caucus would argue is that the thing we have in common, Kevin McCarthy said something to all of us at one point or another that he didn't really mean and never intended to live up to.
Now, fun fact, you'll notice Matt Gaetz is speaking from the Democratic side of the chamber. That's because House Republicans banned him from using any of the Republican microphones. Instead, Republicans used their mics to call Matt Gaetz a far-right threat to democracy.
There are turning points in history whose significance is only realized by the events that they unleash. This is one of those times. We are at the precipice. There are only minutes left to come to our senses and realize the grave danger our country is in at this moment. Dear God, grant us the wisdom to see it and to save our country from it.
Yeah, Tom McClintock actually delivered his speech as a prayer to God to save the Republicans and the country from Matt Gaetz and the MAGA right. But you know what's funny? Tom McClintock was actually one of the first Republicans to say Democrats were overreacting when they said the MAGA movement was dangerous. Oops. On a day of immense uncertainty, one thing is clear. Kevin McCarthy's time as Speaker is now officially over. Now Republicans face the task of convincing one of their colleagues to take maybe the worst job in America. I mean, do you want to work with any of these fools? The Freedom Caucus has proven they can easily remove any speaker who tells them no, meaning the next Speaker of the House is likely to just be a rubber-stamped junior member of the Freedom Caucus. Any speaker will have to be a total puppet to the MAGA right, or those same Freedom Caucus Republicans will make sure they don't have a job either. Among the parade of freaks considering running for Speaker is Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, who's most famous for, well, Jim doesn't really want to talk about that too much, but Jordan says he's supporting another candidate, former President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has been contacted about possibly him being an interim speaker. Is that a reality?
I don't know. He'd be great, but I want Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States. If he wants to be speaker,
well,
great.
He's still,
but,
I
want him to be president of the United States.
For president. He's still going to be running for president. Right.
That's where we need him, is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If he wants to be Speaker, then that's fine too.
You don't need to be a political expert to see what happens to the House if Jim Jordan or one of the Freedom Caucus members somehow becomes Speaker. Not only would government shutdowns become the norm, they'd become something the Speaker was actually trying to provoke. That's insane. The House is now closed for a week as Republicans struggle to put together the pieces. Voters should pay close attention. The chaos you're about to see is the new face of the Republican Party. And if you think that was wild, check out this video.
So much food and water stored down there to feed the whole United States for about 10 years.
And as always, leave a comment below so you can let me know what I should cover next.